way, I'd like to give a huge thank you to newwayenglish.tv for sponsoring this video. The second thing you have to learn about a dog is that it's a dog. It's not a human being. It doesn't understand. Stop it. Don't do that. Go away. It's a dog. All right? It doesn't understand English. It can understand, well, we're going to go into this next week. I'm not sure the exact numbers, but I think some breeds 50 words, maybe some up to 100 words they can learn, single and double syllable words. But you can't have a conversation with a dog. You have to understand. And the way to understand this, and the word I'm looking for will come to you, is that they turn white when they have a black screen. That happens a lot. All right. He is black and white though, so it kind of fit in. Think about it this way. If you have a 5-year-old little brother, 15-year-old sister, and then of course you got your 40-some-year-old mother and father, and then you've got your 60-some-year-old grandmother and grandfather. Are you going to talk to all these people the same way? Are you going to deal with all these people the same way? I think not, right? You're going to deal with grandpa and grandma one way, mom and dad another way, sister one way, and the little 4 or 5-year-old another way too, because there are different levels in life. Now, it's common knowledge that a dog year is like 7 of our years. Okay, so if the dog is 1 year old, it has the mentality roughly, or the age or the energy of a 7-year-old kid. Okay, this is why they usually only live to like 12 years old. So my point is, when a dog is 2 years old, roughly in age, he's about 14 years old, if you want to measure it towards humans. But their intelligence, okay, how smart they can be, is at best the intelligence of a 5 or 6-year-old child. So even though the dog is 4 years old, which means he would be like 28 years old in our age, doesn't act like a 28-year-old adult. He's never going to be smarter than a 5 or 6-year-old. That's about the extent of knowledge that he can learn. So this means you have to deal with that animal at a certain level at all times. So what is that? What is the word? When we're dealing with their psyche, their brain?
Dog's brain.
Oh, yeah. So what do you call that when you deal with your sister who's 15 years old and she's a teenager going through a whole new world and she thinks it's the end of the world because she didn't get her Facebook likes today? And then you have a 5-year-old who looks at Facebook and says, boring, and they just want to play Roblox. Or even if they play games. Who knows what a 5-year-old does? I don't know what a 5-year-old
clever
does.
dog.
Well,
Psychology.
yeah, it's the psychology that I'm looking here. Dog psychology. You have to understand what the dog can understand. All right, and I'll give you an example. You have a couple of dogs, and you go out for the day, but you've been gone a long time, and they tried to hold it, but they couldn't anymore. So you come home and there's a puddle on the kitchen floor, or something worse. It smells really bad. All right, you walk in there and you're angry. Why didn't the dog hold it? Why didn't he wait? Right? And then you grab the dog and you stick his nose in it, or you slap the dog. I hope not, but that's what you do. Most people, that's what they do, and worse things. But what do you think the dog thinks now? Again, you have to understand the psychology of a dog. Do you think the dog, this happened 2 hours ago, do you think he's do you think the dog thinks he's in trouble or she's in trouble because he used the bathroom in the kitchen? Or maybe the dog now thinks, oh, my owner doesn't like me. He comes home and hits me and sticks my nose into things. I don't like you anymore. That's exactly what the dog thinks. The dog doesn't remember what it did 2 hours ago. It's not a human being. The only way to discipline a dog when they're doing something, a bad behavior, something you don't want, you have to catch them when they're doing it. For example, if a dog is chewing on the side of the table or a shoe that you have, and you see him doing it, then you can kind of slide over and maybe give him a slap under the chin so he doesn't see your hand. Okay, you slap him under the chin. Dog doesn't know, what happened? All he knows, I was chewing on the shoe and it hurt. He thinks twice about chewing on the shoe. All right, little things like that. But we're gonna go into some of those tricks and tips next week. I'm not gonna spend too much time on that now. I'll ruin next week's show. That one's gonna be fun. So is this one. So dog psychology, you got to understand what the dog is thinking, what the dog is seeing, perceiving, in order to understand how to treat the dog. All right.